It was read most beautifully a few moments ago, but if you'll allow me just to settle myself to read one more time, Matthew 12, verses 43 to 45. It says, when an unclean spirit goes out of, I'm going to adjust it as well. When an unclean spirit goes out of a person, they go through dry places seeking rest and find none. Then they say, I will return to my house from which I came. And when they come, you'll find it empty, swept, and put in order. Then they go and take with them 7 other spirits, more wicked than themselves, and they enter and dwell there. And the last state of that one is worse than the first. So shall it be also with this wicked generation. For the few moments that we have to share today, I want to preach from the topic, no room in the inn. No room in the inn. I'm not sure if you've had one of those moments yet, but if not, I think, I hope, I pray it's coming. I can't pinpoint whether it will come, but for most it's coming. It might be the result of a lecture, maybe a tangential comment from one of your professors. Maybe it'll come from some of the extra supplemental reading that's not mandatory for class that you happen to read. Now, it won't come from that because nobody reads the extra reading, but somehow it'll come. There's this moment that can happen at some point during your seminary journey. It's one of the reasons that I'm so excited about helping to cultivate and to build that journey for you, not even necessarily in class, but you'll come across something, you'll hear something, you'll read something, you'll feel something, and it'll challenge you. You might ignore it at first, you might fight it for a little while, but it'll sit with you, and eventually you'll realize there's something you came into this experience with, some feeling, some belief, maybe even some heartfelt, thought out, something deep and theological is no longer something that you feel so strongly about. Maybe your perspective will shift. You'll be free. You'll realize that something you held on to was no longer worth holding on to, and you'll be free. Maybe you had some sexism that needed to encounter Elizabeth Johnson's She Who Is, or something by Mary Daly, or maybe you didn't come from a tradition that limited women, but one that marginalized them in the guise of being supported, and something you read pushed you out of it. Maybe it was an interaction with Cone and an idea that would have felt completely foreign and unthinkable, like comparing the cross and the lynching tree, somehow becomes palatable. Dare I say, foundational to how you think. Maybe you already knew Cone, but hadn't read any Towns or Cannon or Williams, and the woman that's making an impression on you. Maybe it's not a book or a lecture, but a relationship. Maybe it's the fact that you come to this place and then now become friends with someone who you never would have been friends with before. And you notice a conversation that opened your eyes to an experience that you never have had as an immigrant, or someone on an international journey, or someone from that part of the country. Maybe you heard some of your Black friends joking about something you didn't think could be joked about. And so now you have some questions that, because the right relationship, will help you grow. I don't know if you've experienced it yet, but I think it's coming, a moment when you'll be introduced, exposed to something, you'll see something, you'll experience something, it'll change you, it'll free you, you'll be different. It most certainly happened to me about halfway through my journey at STH, and I pray that it keeps happening to all of us, for we must still get free. And I don't care how progressive, how liberal, how saved, how righteous you think you are. Keep fighting for that freedom, because we need free exercise individuals to fight the demons that are taking over. Now, I know that we are generally dismissive of things like exorcisms. I know, even if we don't want to admit it or say it out loud, that when we hear people talk about rebuking the devil or binding spirits, that for many of us that causes a chuckle and a sort of academically founded liberal leaning haughtiness that says these sorts of things don't exist. I got to be honest, at this point, I'm not sure there is a more logical explanation for what ails this society than the demonic. But the most plausible explanation in my humble Southern raised Baptist bred theological imagination is that the demonic is amongst us, for evil is most certainly rising. We all walk around with oppressive ideals in us, and certainly oppressive structures around us that hinder the love and light and peace and joy that we want. And my struggle may not be your struggle. Your demon may not be my demon. Your demon of patriarchy may not be the same as someone else's demons of racism or someone else's transphobia. My demon may be more blatant than your demon. Sometimes your denial is a demon all its own, but all of us have some demons we need to exercise. some demons we have to fight through so that we can fight the demonic in this world, because we have to get free and stay free because this world is getting worse. And now I know from which pulpit I speak virtually on today. I know what our esteemed STH alum, Dr. King, popularized when he remixed abolitionist Theodore Parker's assertion that the arc of the moral universe is long and it bends towards justice, making it a motto that has given so many of us hope for decades. But y'all, I don't know. Don't see the moral arc bending back towards justice. I see it swinging deeper into the demonic. In the year of our Lord 2025, a Black man was lynched this week. I don't mean lynched in the way that we rightfully described what happened to George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, all of which would qualify as lynching. I mean lynched, beaten, killed, and hung from a tree like it was 1953. Trey Reed was lynched, and then the authorities had the audacity to say no foul play. How can it be no foul play when America itself is foul play? Where the very reality of our society is foul play because the demonic is on the loose. And just within the last week, we've had to watch more news coverage of the response to the death of a hateful influencer than the news of a school shooting where children were injured. We're critiquing someone who spewed hate as deemed grounds for losing one's job when calling for the death of the housing insecure folk is met with a passing nod. What the hell is going on? This can't be it. This can't be real. This can't be right. This can't be normal. The demonic is on the loose, and it feels like those demons are coming back stronger than before. And Jesus warned us about this in this parable. He says, as was read, that unclean spirit goes out of a man and it sweeps the dry land and it doesn't find a good home. And so instead, the evil spirit wants to return home. The unclean spirit returns to the person that it came out of as they went home, where it had taken up rest for a little while. And it seems that this demon that had just left someone still considers their former host home. Could it be that whatever oppressive ideologies that we've tried to free ourselves from still want to make their way back, inch back into what they consider home inside of us? They have known us as home for so long that they still want to come out, not just to visit. They want to make their way back into the residence of our minds and our hearts again. They want to come back to what and where they consider home. Those oppressive mindsets and limited perceptions that we've had throughout our life feel natural. They come natural. They don't require much thought. It is who we've been, and it feels right. It's how we've seen the world. It has infiltrated all that we know, and noticing and naming it is a difficult task. But our demons, they want to come back. They want to stretch out on the couch of our hearts, get comfortable, go in the fridge, drink up all the juice, eat all the leftovers, and take that last piece of cake that you were waiting on and had your mouth ready for when you came home. This is a cautionary tale of the highest degree, which suggests that we got to be careful once we get free. For in verse 45, we're told that the unclean spirit returned to his house and found that it was empty, swept, and put in order. Not only is the spirit allowed entry, but the house is empty, swept up, and put in order. And my estimation, made ready for demonic habitation. The house is ready for the return. This suggests to me that once the man got free, he prepared and put himself in the best position for a relapse. He set himself up to fail. This was self-sabotage. He made the return of the demon comfortable. The demon didn't even have to work hard. He might as well have rolled out the red carpet for the demon to come back. In fact, some scholars suggest that the way Jesus words this parable in the original language was a nod to how one might set up for a guest of honor. That this brother was ready for the rehabilitation of the demon. And before we too hard on this brother in the parable, I believe that I'm talking to some folk today that we may have gotten free from some things last year or even just last week, and we'll get free, or maybe we'll get free this semester in one of the classes we'll take in one of the interactions that we have, and we want to remain free, but we set up circumstances for the demonic return. For if we're doing the same things we were doing back before we got free, after we got free, who do we think is going to come back full force? Once we get free, we have to find a way to stay free. And that fight includes doing things differently. If we have to stay free, we have to change up the residence, set up the shop so that our old demons won't feel so at home. And we have to change up shop by filling up the residence. Empty houses never remain empty. Dust gathers in the corners. Rodents find their way through floorboards. Wear and tear from the elements create cracks that, when left unattended, open the door for all kinds of outside effects getting in. And like physical houses, our own homes, the temple that is our body is susceptible to being filled by the wrong thing. For cleaning out a house is never enough. Having that aha moment is not enough. You have to fill your spirit back up if you want to remain free from old tenants. For empty homes are like a vacuum, always trying to fill up the empty space. And for us in our own lives, when we get free without refilling that newly clean space with a new tenant, we are ripe for a relapse. For evil is overcome only when it is replaced with good. Don't just clean out your residence, but fill it up. The rituals of release aren't enough. Liberation is but the beginning. Don't set up the meeting with your professor and spend an hour of their precious time telling how much that lecture touched them and how changed you are, only to go back to thinking and behaving and preaching the same way. For until we replace what we're delivered from with positive and progressive movement, we're always going to be in a position of relapse. So don't just break the chain, fill the hole with a greater and grander image and more inclusive image of who God is and God's justice. And I pray that everybody is released from everything. I hope that you can get touched when you pray. I hope that you can feel something move at some point throughout your time here, but that freedom won't mean a thing if it's not coupled with some practices through the week that help you maintain your connection and fill the house. Keep on reading those things that give you life. Keep on taking the classes that stretch your mind instead of those that simply fulfill your requirements and reinforce what you already believe. For it's time to get free and stay free, because the world needs us free. We gotta be free as individuals and then collectively, because sadly, I think we've left the doors wide open for the demonic in the world. It's like we collectively exhaled and let our guard down and didn't find ways to keep up the fight. Yeah, we elected a black president, then we boasted about it at a White House correspondent dinner and ended up with 45. Trayvon was killed and we marched, but we stopped. Breonna was killed and we marched, but we let go. George Floyd was killed and we had unprecedented support and movement, and then somehow we lost the momentum. Brother was elected, then he wasn't elected, then he was elected again, and it seems like the demons are coming back stronger than they ever been, and that's on a national scale. But I'm sure that if you narrow the focus more locally, you'll have tales of movement started and momentum lost. Can't just get free. You can't just have a moment. Freedom is movement. And our text challenges us, I think, to get free and stay free so that we can fight to make sure the world gets free. The lesson here seems to me that we can't ever rest on our laurels and pat ourselves on the back as if we've accomplished anything, that there's always more to do, more to go, more to save, more to serve, more to grow, more to read, more to write, more to fight. That freedom isn't a destination, it's a state of being. It's a mindset. It's the decision to put yourself in a position of ceaseless exorcism, constantly casting out the demons that we all might be free. So you are here and something will hit you, something will touch you. You'll read something, you'll hear something, you'll say something. Maybe it'll happen during a march, maybe it'll happen during a sermon. Something will challenge us to live into that freedom, to truly live our liberated lives. And after you get free, after you hear that thing, read that thing, do that thing, you got to make sure you keep fighting. I'm reminded of another story from someone deeply connected to our beloved STH. But Thurman told a story one day of walking behind his sister who was deathly afraid of snakes as they were down in the Everglades. He said that he wanted to play a prank on his sister. His sister was deathly afraid of snakes and was walking ahead of him on the trail. And then as they were walking along, a little garter snake makes its way across the trail. And Thurman says he steps on top of the snake so that he could then catch the snake and then grab the snake and maybe throw it at his sister or make his sister look at it so that he can indeed scare his sister. But he says that when he stepped on the snake, he learned something that stuck with him throughout the course of his life. He said when he looked down at that snake, he realized what freedom really was. Because even as a child, he was exponentially larger than the snake. And so his foot was down on top of the snake. But he says that as he kept his foot on top of the snake, that the snake kept on wiggling. That even though he was so much bigger and he seemed like there was no hope for the snake to get free, the snake just kept on wiggling. And Thurman says that that's when he figured out what freedom really looks like. It means that even when that boot is on your back, to keep on wiggling, because freedom is the constant wiggle in the midst of an oppressive situation. And I know I'm preaching via Zoom, not like I want to, but I done messed around and got happy because I need some saints who ain't going to be afraid to wiggle with it. That even though we're still drenched in patriarchy, even though we're still drenched with homophobia, even though transphobia runs rampant throughout this land, wiggle with it. Even though it's all there, even though you come from some affluence and have never had time for the poor, keep on wiggling when they're in the midst of oppression so that you can get free and so that you can free some folk along the way. Wiggle till all your siblings are free. Wiggle till you get free. Wiggle till the church is free. Wiggle till that arc starts bending back towards justice. Wiggle till lynchings are a thing of the past. Wiggle till public discourse knows how to have nuanced conversation. Wiggle till folk who claim to be Christians sow some fruit that actually resembles that Nazarene, not the Nazi. Wiggle till we all get free. So I think there's room in the end, no longer for the demonic, but for everybody who we open the doors to, because everybody's got a home if we clear out the evil and allow the good to come in. Amen.